was holding us down in Cincinnati at the Region 2 NABJ conference.
Yeah. Oh wait, hey, shout out really quick to Alexis Rogers. Like I just
Yes.
saw a clip. She was being awarded. I
Yep,
didn't
yep, yep.
know the full story, but shout out to you, girl.
Yeah, Cincinnati is her home market. I think she's the lead anchor there. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Me
and
and
she's rolling
Alexis
out a new
talking
show.
like Sprouts.
And she's rolling out like a new Saturday
really?
show. Yeah,
she's great. Yeah,
something like that.
You know, I tell people all the time that our like class of or our era of Mizzou journalists literally run the media world.
Yeah, we do actually. And the funny thing is that when we were
Been
at
hanging out with
Mizzou,
too many St. Louis people, man. It sounds like a St. Louis
No,
comment.
none of us are from St. Louis.
no.
I know, it just sounded like a St. Louis comment.
Oh, yeah,
nah, let's do that.
None of us that are actually like doing shit are from St. Louis. That sounded like a slight. That sounded like a slight. Yeah,
But,
that sounded like a
okay,
slight.
but at Mizzou, I remember people, like we were going on the media tours, and we went on the tours and we talked to Mizzou alum. They will all say, yeah, the Mizzou Mafia is real. And come to find out, it's actually very real. Anytime I go to
we are the mafia.
Yeah, anytime I go to any type of studio or production company or like entertainment headquarters, there's someone from Mizzou working them behind the scenes.
That's a fact. And now we are the mafia. Like the entire Newsy organization is like half of Mizzou people.
Right.
And then like we're running entertainment and hip hop and traditional
Radio.
news.
All right, so anyway, there's a lot of
Radio.
news that's happened the last few weeks since
we are the news.
Since the last three-piece
But who makes the news,
happened.
Jake?
Who reports the news, Jake?
Who
Me.
produces the news,
I'm the
Jake?
only one over
Mizzou people
me.
do, Jake.
Mizzou.
Iowa.
Ew.
Whoa.
White privilege.
You went to school in Missouri.
Yeah, but we got St. Louis. That's as nigga get.
This nigga.
All right. Anyway.
But yes. So let's hop into some news items. Are you leading us there, Jake?
Would you like me to?
We can kick off with something and then we can follow up with you. I think Portia has some things on her mind.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see what we got, Portia. I'll do a little perusing while we dive into this.
But first, you
Okay.
should pass that Cooks.
Oh, yeah. But anywho,
Hey.
so I was at an event. Actually, I attended a very dope. Shawn, you were
Thank
there too.
you.
But the Rock Nation had a panel discussion yesterday at Drink House, which was really dope, man. Like me not being a musician, not being an artist necessarily. Well, not at all. But I actually learned a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't even think about just from attending the panel.
Like what? Because I had to dip out before the panel.
You did because you had to go host another event.
I did.
Yeah, but like one thing is like I know artists who are, I won't say struggling, but people who are trying to make waves within their careers, and a lot of times the end goal is always, I want a record deal. I want to sign to a record label and a record company. But one piece of advice they gave was that you can also get a deal with a publishing label, publishing company.
Yeah.
So if you just need a check or something, you can just go like the people who soundtracks to movies, singing commercials, sing in voiceovers and whatnot. You can easily just get signed because they're hiring apparently all the time for just talent.
They are
to sing.
Even if you check into, I know I work with an artist now who makes a good amount and travels around and tours off of helping other people with things and not necessarily being an artist signed to a major label.
Yeah, like she said that, or Rachel, she was talking about how like a lot of times people come and say, hey, I want to record labels, like, can you sign me? But if you just ask, is your publishing label looking to sign talent? And more than likely they will hire you on the spot. So yeah, little tidbit for that. But that's also just a long segue into another conversation I had with my homie Cody Mack. Shout out to you and What's the Word? About the difference between moments and movements. And we sort of related that topic to the passing of Nipsey Hussle versus the passing of Tupac and Biggie. And the question of the debate was, whose death left the biggest impact?
Okay.
And one thing that Cordero brought up is that he thinks that Nipsey, he doesn't know yet. He said we can't tell because we do live in a moment-driven society right now due to social media. Everybody's like a microwave. It's just really fast, and when no one's talking about it, no one cares anymore. So he thinks that we need to wait at least 6 months out to see how relevant Nipsey's death and all the incredible things that he did is still relevant.
I think it's the thing about the internet and everything, the Internet of Things, and the way we live now is that, like, at the same time,
Voice
it's
of
like,
God, Jake speaking, by the way.
everything is more unified because of Twitter. You know, everything is more like we're all on the same page. I wouldn't say unified, but everyone's on the same page. But at the same time, it's more fractured. You know what I mean? Like, there's been people who have died who are YouTube stars or, you know what I mean, different things that we would never know about because we're just not in that world, but they probably have like 1 million fans. You know what I mean? So it's weird how like what you're talking about, it's like this world is like fractured to a point where you could our periphery know him and stuff like that, but at the same time it's like everyone is aware of it. So it's like a weird give and take where it's like 20 years ago you just had the Source magazine, you know, it was like that was it.
Yeah, Source and Vibe was like that was your go-to. So that's interesting. So it's just, do you think that if Biggie or Pac had died in today's era, would they have still had the same, if not a bigger impact?
To me, everything's so oversaturated. Like, also, you remember those two for vastly different reasons, I think. You know, I think you remember Biggie because he literally is, bar none, probably one of the greatest rappers to ever just rap, right? Like, him, pure skill. Tupac, great fucking story, you know? Tupac, I think, is remembered to this day mostly because of the Machiavelli shit, the 7-day theory, setting up his death to make it look like he wasn't dead. That's legendary, you know what I mean? Like, that's stuff that people will talk about forever. So I think, like, the reasons we remember these people, too. Now, Nipsey, I think, you know, depending on what the world looks like in a few years, like, I mean, his message could really, so far, it's been having a big impact. You know what I mean? The marathon continues as, like, a rallying cry across the country. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I agree.
Care to chime?
I'm kind of like Cordair, and I think it's unfair to measure because of time, but I also think it's because it's unfair to measure because of person, in the sense of the closest association between those fallen would be Nipsey and Tupac, just because of city type of place, messaging and such.
Yeah.
But even on that respect, I think that it will come down to how you weigh what they spoke about and who did they speak to. Like, in the sense of, not to take anything away from Nipsey, but if we were to go ahead in decades, let's say maybe 10 years from now, will there be someone who echoed that they began to rap because of Nipsey? Like how many people today still echo that they began to rap and they believe in rap and they associate rap with Tupac or Big. And that's not saying that it won't happen, because he had the body of work, 5-6 projects that people will throw in rotation and have it there. But I think what robs us of Nipsey compared to the other two, when Pac and Big died, they were the biggest stars that we had. So it was like when they died, the walls of hip hop died.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at. You know, it's like a Nipsey Hussle 20 years ago might have been a different kind of star. You know what I mean? Because just the way media in the world was working. So it's like that's what I was getting at with the fractured versus like on the same page thing.
But here's the thing: if we're looking at fractured and all these different audiences, so here's my only. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but here's my thing with why Nipsey might leave a bigger legacy in the long run is because that his audience was beyond music. So he actually, I'm not to say that Tupac, I'm just not to say Tupac wasn't or Biggie wasn't, but I'm just saying that his legacy was more so rooted in a variety of different, let's say, gardens. Like he touched a variety of spectrums beyond just music, where most people only know Tupac and associate him with his music.
His movies, his activism, I mean, Tupac had.
I'm saying, but so, like, if you were to go ask a 92-year-old white woman and who happens to recognize the name Tupac, she's gonna more than likely associate that with.
Oh yeah, she'd be like Juice. Juice was a great movie.
She probably look at
Bishop was fucked up.
She probably look at you and say, "MAGA, motherfucker, MAGA." No,
I'm just saying, but he just seems to have a broader.
I think what's going to make this harder, we can't tell right now, but what makes it even harder in the long run is the time and eras that they grew up in the sense of where Nipsey would lack in musicality is compared to a Biggie and Pac. Biggie and Pac would lack in entrepreneurship and community change due to the time that they grew up in.
True.
Or the time that they were popular in.
Yeah, like
in
Nipsey couldn't have connected with as many people across the country and the world as he did without the internet.
Exactly.
He couldn't have put his albums out the way he did.
That's like if we didn't have the internet, a large variety of this country may not have ever heard about Nipsey Hussle. And
I mean, that's what I was kind of getting at. Is also like, you mean what Biggie was, 17, 18, 19 when he came out?
Yeah.
And he was, I'm saying it was like his first album had every great producer on it and had several $1 million operating budget, marketing budget. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's what I'm saying. Even
you
with
give
that,
Nipsey that at 17, 18, maybe he is that. You know
but the crippling portion of that, when it comes to Big and Pac, they didn't have the freedom, whether it was financially, whether it was structural, or the knowledge of what's going on in the community, of how to affect that community. Because one of the things I saw all the time was that Nipsey did what Pac always talked about, but it may not be because Pac didn't want to do it or because he didn't try to do it, but he might not have had the means or access to do it.
I mean, Nipsey also died at 33 and Tupac died at 25. Yeah. You know what I mean? So actually, to me, it feels like, if you want to talk about
a comparison.
I mean, if you want to put it in like track thing, it feels like Nipsey picked up that baton and like ran a few more.
You want to put it at, I will say that you can already say as like impact of a fallen rapper, he's in that top 3.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely.
I really do think it's like of the rappers that have left us, it's really it's Pac, Big, and Nip.
I think that speaks more so to what you were saying.
I could be on oversight of somebody, but
I'm saying I think that's what speaks to what you were saying earlier, was like the fact that Nipsey is, like we were talking about now, based on his output of music and everything, like he's, from the outside looking in, looking at Wikipedia pages, comparing him, you wouldn't compare the 3 if you didn't know anything about him, right?
Right.
But the fact that he was who he did what he did, I think that's the crazy thing, is like that's why he's so respected and put in that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why. Yeah, like in that top 5, he's there, and I think what hit this so crazy is that, excuse me, Nip was the first rapper of a certain stature, that we lost to gun violence since Pac or Biggie.
That's another,
like we had other people that got gunned down, like Bankroll Fresh got gunned down, but he wasn't at this level. I really can't name another rapper that was murdered between that frame that the masses knew. I could just be having an oversight. Okay, I lied. Jam Master Jay. Yeah. But even with Jam Master Jay, when he was killed, he wasn't in the peak of Run DMC. And that's no shade to Jam Master Jay. That's just saying, like, where are you right now in your career? Yeah, like, he got killed at his peak. This was Nipsey's peak. Victory Lap was his peak.
And it's crazy,
when Victory Lap was his peak. When Biggie died, Ready Life After Death was his peak. When Pac died, he was fresh off of getting out of jail. He was at the peak of Death Row. Death Row died with Pac. Like, all of them were killed at their peak. When Bankroll Fresh got killed, he was just starting out. Like, people didn't even know who Bankroll was yet.
Yeah.
When Jam Master Jay died, he was a legend, but it was post Run DMC is running hip hop.
I'm trying to think of
I can't name of anyone else who got killed.
Meek Mill's little homie.
Lil Snoop.
Lil Snoop.
No, not many people knew who Little Snoop was yet.
Right, because Meek had just started promoting and pushing for him.
You had to know rappers
underground
that were
rap.
there.
Yeah, but man, I mean, it's crazy. And then when you think about like just sort of transitioning here.
Wait, I mean, XXXTentacion got shot in his
car. But the thing about him is that he was very controversial in splitting, and he was not accepted by the general hip hop community yet. He was accepted by his community of.
I was thinking of gun violence.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, he was connected by his community of people that just rocked with his music. But even on top. He didn't have the body work. He wasn't like he was. Insane. That's true. I just don't want to keep saying Tentacion, but like literally when we really can't say that. Like Soulja Slim, Mac Dre, Proof. Doe B was just coming up.
Reality.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, like, it's violent reality. But at the same time, if you go find a everyday white person who don't know shit about rap, they would assume that way more rappers have been killed in our historic lifetime than what it is. But yeah.
Man, well, I was gonna. I was in New York and I went to, it could have been longer than that because I didn't even know the place closed.
Yeah.
But I went to a show at Webster with like, it was like Fetty Wap, I think OT Genesis was there and they were performing. And it's actually like, it's like kind of similar to Thalia Hall here. Mm-hmm. So it's like very intimate. So just to imagine being in that setup in that kind of space, it's sort of mind.
Camera on.
Yeah.
Yes, to Ty to everybody like that. And then you look at it, then you got you had like Joe Budden and the whole podcast crew in there. Mm-hmm. It was just like hip hop for people like Jay-Z. Actually, Jay-Z. Hearing that freestyle he did with Nipsey in it, there was a lot of messages in there. There were necessary. Seeing him, never gonna hear it like.
Interesting how the more Kanye,
this type of shit no more.
Wait, what do you all think of the church that he's looking to find?
Oh yeah.
Like Catholics. I would say he's more like going towards the Baptist
What he's doing
route.
is
also, who brought him back to that gospel loving sound?
Exactly. Yeah.
But here's the thing there was a debate this week about him selling his church
fucking church clothes, dog. Like,
the issue I have is that when I go to my church's bookstore and I buy a book of daily inspirations, or if I buy like a little cute license plate sticker that says Christ Universal Temple, money's going back into my church.
And if I go to buy some stuff, fucking Kanye.
How much were those hoodies? Like $250? It's kind of like I'm buying paraphernalia, and where's it going?
I am not. And you know what's even worse about it, right? And literally look.
Shit looks stupid.
He said, "Yo, we need off of this." Get some merch, write Holy Spirit on the front, write church socks on the socks, charge $70 for these socks, and let's get some money off of it. And you know what I'm kind of happy about? And I'm not saying this in any type of way, and excuse me for putting it this way, but I'm happy that I got to look out at that Coachella crowd and see that it was a bunch of fortunate ass, wealthy ass white people out there trying to get this money. Yes, that's a fire hydrant or fire truck in the background, but like, I looked at the crowd. I can't do anything about that. Something's on fire in the snow. But yeah, I looked out and I saw it was just all of these like wealthy white individuals out here spending $250 for a fucking hoodie.
$50 for a pair of socks.
Dog, look, Kanye
but it would be at least different if he were to say, "Look, I have not founded my church yet. However, any money raised off of these, I'm going to donate to an actual church who is actually impacting and bettering the community."
Yeah, let's really like talk about this for a moment because I didn't think this would be such a good topic. But
it's
like
a rebrand.
But yeah, wait,
this shit looks like a cult.
It's a follow up on Reed.
Who the fuck does Kanye think we are? Like the people who have grown up listening to him our whole lives. Like it feels like he really like doesn't. He really thinks he's smarter than us, and it's kind of pissing me off now because it's like. So you bought these? He probably made 10 G's at least, right? Like off this
minimum,
minimum. That's what I'm saying. Like minimum 10 G's, off just the clothes.
We're not even talking about your booking for your.
Yeah. I'm saying just the clothes off the side. And
how much were tickets to
this? Is that going to buy like more? Yeah, right. Is that going to buy more MAGA hats? Is that going to buy like more cheeseburgers for him and Trump? Like,
and you know what's even crazier about that?
You don't know where it's going.
Like, yes, dude, he's making great soulful music, but he's like a really fucked ass person.
Right, but the issue is that, but churches too, you might give your money to churches, and a lot of them go spend it to pay their car note on their Beamer. But hopefully, you just hope that they're having some type of program and initiative within the community. So and I would trust the church with that money more than Kanye.
That's what just made me realize. That's why I brought it up. Is like, what is Kanye's message at this point?
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you what his message.
What the fuck is his message?
Do you remember that episode of Martin where he went and joined that cult, and they had to go rescue him, and they were worshiping that stuffed dog?
I'm gonna tell you right now, Kanye's message for his Sunday service church eventual believers is the same bullshit he's been preaching to us since Pablo. Mental health, heal yourself. If you pay attention,
I fucking hate more than anything. I hate Kanye West ever bringing up mental health.
Because it fucks up a whole lot of lands.
No, it's like the way he literally, I think the thing with him is that he doesn't keep anything sacred anymore. It's something he used to do a lot. It's a very Chicago thing is to keep things sacred. He goes to LA, now he's out here with the Kardashians. Like, he's literally pimping out every sacred part of his body. You know what I mean? Like, church, mental health, like your mom. You know what I mean? Like,
but even with that, though, like, he hasn't related this Sunday service to anything that he hasn't related this Sunday service to anything that is particularly religious.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What happens? Is it just music, or
it's hybrid?
Just this like dramatic pictures of him like this.
Well, no, but they like I did see a clip of what was it, DMX?
That was the first time you ever heard anything God related to Sunday service. Sunday service had been, prior to that, what they've been called emotion and feeling, in which he's standing in outdoors areas playing his old music, adding in different elements of beats and whatever soulful sounds can happen.
Just taking like
slap in one Kirk Franklin song in his church.
Like a weird power stance all the time. Like he thinks like some reason if he takes like a power stance while he plays the piano, it's different. I don't know. And he's not fucking slick because he's playing both sides here. Yeah, and that's the thing.
Because think about. Well,
that's why he's like Trump. It's like Trump thinks like he pulls wool over our eyes and like we don't know what's going on. It's like, yo, we see the whole game. No,
but not even that. When you think about a Trump supporter, what are they traditionally? They're stuck in the old traditional ways of 1940 America. And what were the two beliefs of 1940s America with a white racist? Is one, racism. Two, everything.
Wait. Break that down one more time.
Two, everything is based in our belief in pure Christ and Christianity.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you think about it, if you want to take it back, that's how they used religion to justify slavery.
I put it like
and
this.
The demise of black people.
I have said it since 2014, and I sit here and say it again. Fuck Kanye West.
He's exploiting.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Jack.
It keeps getting worse.
He exploited mental health.
It gets worse.
He exploited Christianity or just religion at this point.
Big whore of exploitation.
His relationship with his mother, his kids, like everything he does is just like.
I don't know.
The thing is, like, we all know that Kanye is lost, right? We all know Kanye is lost.
I mean, he even played off of the Get Out thing. He's like, I'm woke now. Yeah. I'm out of the sunken place.
He's not, though.
Can I be honest with you?
The thing is, like, at the end of the day, like, a Chicagoan, regardless of what side of the city you're from, if you're from here, if you're from the, like, at a certain point, there's a way you act, there's a way you talk. You can look at the guy and see it.
But that's the issue. I remember he came back. Remember with the whole movement, I'm moving back to Chicago. Oh, God, and do you remember how
Kim Kardashian immediately was like, no, we're not.
No, but remember how everybody flocked to him, like
because
people
Chicago's
on the ground in Chicago.
Loyal ass city.
We love people, man. But like when you do us wrong over and over.
And then he goes to Trump and he hugs him, smiling all, well, not Jim Crow-y, but all what's the other stereotype?
Uncle Thomas.
Yeah. Yeah. Brutish or whatever. I don't know. He's smiling all crazy, hugging on Trump, and then all of that support from Chicago seemed to like die.
And you know what's crazy about that?
Well, again, hold on. Let's just again take a moment to remember that Trump is going to the UK for his second trip. Still has not come back to Chicago since he ran his ass out of here before he became president. Yeah, I think that's crazy as hell. This motherfucker has not been to the city yet.
He knows fucking better.
No, he won't come.
He's never actually stepped foot here.
I'm saying
after, like, even
since he became president, I'm pretty sure he's never been in Chicago.
And he tried to blame the CPD, and the CPD was like, "Nah, bro, we had it on lock. We had it on lock.
Your security is gone.
You were scared. Yeah. You were scared.
Yeah,
man. Look, it's a thing that if you're from Chicago, we're gonna support you until the end.
And Derrick Rose, people still love Derrick Rose.
Yeah, I mean, but we're at the end with Kanye.
I've been at the end.
No, I think everyone's got their. I mean, R. Kelly's another good one, right?
No,
R. Kelly like got cut.
Yeah, we're at the end.
I'm gonna tell you, you know what's the difference.
We should have been.
You know what's the difference between R. Kelly and Kanye? Because it's easy for you to cut off someone who's doing black women and girls sexually wrong. When you're doing something that what people continuously perceive as, oh, Kanye needs help.
Yeah,
he's not going to get cut off. Kanye is never going to get 100% cut off.
No, he'll never get 100% cut off.
It's not going to happen.
I just think, like, you know, he's at that point where he's made enough music and he's made enough of an impact on the world.
And he don't give a fuck about
that. Like if he died today, his legacy is going to be there, right?
I feel like he leeches off of the sympathizers, the people who do actually care for him, the people who don't care, or your white suburban teenage population.
The lowest hanging fruit for him is usually the most stuff he reaches for.
People sent me that clip from the Kardashian shit where he's a full-time cast member now. And he was talking to Kim and said, yeah, we're going back to Chicago to do this at the Regal Theater, this and this. And somebody sent me this, like, yo, you see this Kanye helping the Regal Theater? I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck.
That was 3 years ago, and they never did it.
I don't give a fuck. Regal Theater ain't been open for 20 years, dog. Like, all right, cool. You going to open up the Regal Theater so you can make money out that motherfucker?
I'm pretty sure Jay-Z ended up buying it.
No,
yeah, I thought that.
No, Jay don't own it.
Or
maybe it was a different one, but Jay-Z bought the...
I heard they were looking at it.
Nah, that was just a bad rumor.
Really?
Yeah, nah, I hear some people in Rock Nation, they say, yeah, nah, that ain't it.
Yeah.
But nah, like, it's...
But shout out to the Regal, though. It's a staple in the
It is a staple. I remember they had 106 Park in there when I was a kid.
I went to my very first concert there, Lil Romeo.
Yeah.
Lil Romeo.
You should have skipped that one.
I was a kid. My first one.
Yeah, let's get off of that fuck boy and move on to something else.
Okay, one other question, like... So one thing I'm trying not to press any bias here because it's also another Chicago artist, Chicago family. So you had brought up Fabulous. Right. So let me loop this all together.
I was waiting for that.
You brought up Fabulous. So also this past week, there was an altercation in Atlanta where Herbo, he was arrested for assaulting Ari, and then Ari went on Instagram or Snapchat and was posting just like words or just text about how he beat her ass and she had a black eye and bruises and took her son or their child to their friends who drove off with the kid while he continued to beat her, right?
Right.
So for me, as soon as I heard that automatically just my mind is triggered to thinking of the whole situation with Fabulous. Place an opinion on it because this is all alleged right now. Like, it's all alleged, nothing's fact. But yeah, I know it's
not a great time.
I know it's a sensitive topic.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. No, it's not even. Like, I have no problem with speaking on a sensitive topic, but it's just so early, and no one knows the truth. We haven't had any
proof.
I don't want to touch on nobody's allegations. It's seen as sensitive. I don't want to do any of that. Like, my thing is, number one,
but I can probably say that there are a bunch of girls out here who, like, I get it. Like, if your ex or your baby's father, like, moves on to someone else, they might. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that triangle is always going to exist.
Caroline after she got 1 million followers, though.
No. She built it up.
She got 1 million followers off of Hair Caroline?
I have no idea, though.
I don't.
Like, they can shut that bitch down whenever they want.
Yeah, my thing is, like, I just, and in my history of, like, following Herbo's career, like, I've known the bare minimum about her. Like, literally from seeing her, like, with him on an Instagram picture, I was like, oh, nice, they're in love.
Yeah, no, and then, like, she's known throughout Chicago. She's from Chicago.
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't get, like,
They started talking about mutually, what are they saying? Mutually
aggressive
relationships. Yes, thank you. It's like, so I don't know. I mean, the fact that you put it on, I just don't think it's made for social media.
Well,
I think that's what people overuse social
media. That's the other thing is I think that it's a very sensitive situation. And I wish the best for both parties, truly. But I feel like sometimes, not even just this situation, but several people and several influencers, or if they're not like artists or singers, but several people with these huge platforms, I feel like situations poorly. And
But the court of public opinion is the worst court in the land right now. Like, I personally
that rules everything. It doesn't even matter what's real or not.
That might be a good topic to jump into for a little bit. Is like the idea of cancel culture. You know what I mean? Like, there's people who are getting canceled. There's things who are like losing their entire like livelihoods just on the sense of like someone doesn't agree with their opinion.
Perfect example of the popularity or the influence of public opinion. honestly, technically, no. Here's the thing. Technically, nobody knows.
Oh shit!
Exactly, but nobody knows exactly publicly.
Me and
Nobody knows.
No, but specifically, But specifically, Jake and I know.
Oh, yeah, Chris put us on.
We ain't gonna talk about that.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
We ain't
But
gonna
okay, well, we're gonna speak from the perspective of everybody listening or watching. So basically, publicly, it's all alleged. No one knows exactly what happened. No one knows truly as far as the public is concerned. However, the public opinion is that he's lying. And it's definitely been detrimental to his entire career.
That's a difference, but that's a difference in lie.
That's a little different.
His lie is...
He called himself the gay Tupac.
My thing, no, not even going that deep.
But say it comes out that he's telling the truth. Say it comes out that that story checks out.
Look.
The public still looks at him as a
Portia,
liar.
let me give you
you're
the
taking
between,
this is I feel you, but this one's
the difference between and Jussie's situation, as this ambulance probably goes to his next attack.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's Shawn. There he is.
Man, look, the difference between them two is, let's say when you have a domestic abuse situation, there's always one or the other. Either you beat someone or you didn't.
right.
In this case, we don't even have any concrete evidence as to you getting beat.
Right.
No photo footage in public.
None of the videos.
No
all
additional
the surveillance,
suspects.
like,
Nothing.
The guys you were
we
with,
have the guys who allegedly did it.
and we have you giving them money to go buy the shit to wear to come.
And not
do
only
it.
did the police prove it was false, but the guys already said it's false.
Did you see they came out and filed the lawsuit for
defamation
for
of
character?
character,
Actually, yeah.
And then
which
they also-
actually, Trevor Noah broke down hilariously. I don't
We
know
have-
if you
we
guys
have
saw
some-
that.
I haven't watched Trevor Noah in so long.
Completely
Yeah.
unrelated. I'm going to see Trevor Noah tonight at the United Center.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
gonna
I
be
wanted to
here.
go
He's
see
gonna
that
be
shit.
here. I
Fuck.
saw him
You got a
like 2
ticket
years
for
ago.
me?
He's amazing.
I don't. My best friend actually got the tickets and she invited me to go.
Damn.
No, I saw him like 2 years ago at the Chicago Theater. And
Wait,
he's
he broke
like,
this-
Trust me, it's a great.
I'm a
it's a
catch.
great
He broke this
experience.
down though really funny. He's like talking about the two brothers, you know, and he had the picture because you know they always have the picture of them with their shirts off on a mountaintop or
That's
some
the
shit.
same picture. Why
Every
they always
time.
use
Well, he
that
actually
picture?
addressed that too, that they only use that photo of them. But he's like, yeah, defamation of character. He's like, my guys, like, we had no idea who you were like 2 months ago. You were just two dudes, two brothers training people, and like, how could it be defamation of character if we didn't know your character beforehand?
That's very factual.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys.
What's up?
In this cancel culture area, has there been someone that's been quote unquote canceled that you guys was like, fuck that, I'm still rocking with him? Because I got one.
I want to say it, but
Go ahead, say it. You still listen to R.
R.
Kelly,
Kelly.
ain't you?
no, it's like a straight white man. I
I
can't. It
was like,
sucks.
okay.
No, man. Honestly, I still think that Louis C.K. Got like a really shitty hand.
I did too.
And I don't think he's handled it well.
You talking about the Louis C.K. shit with Chris Rock?
I'm just talking about Louis C.K. not being able to do the thing he's
Wait,
done
was that
for his
Louis with
entire
Chris
life.
Rock?
No, Louis
Who did
Louis
Chris
got in
Rock
trouble.
say
Louis
nigga?
got in trouble. No, Chris Rock did stand up, or Chappelle did stand up, where he said that Louis' case was the only part of the Me Too movement that made him laugh.
Yeah.
Because it was like, and I'm not saying that, that's not my opinion, but Louis got in trouble for calling women in his office and asking them if they wanted to watch him masturbate, and then they'd like come to his office
And they said, yeah, he
and
did
would
it.
sit
And
there
it
and
was
beat
like,
off,
yeah.
which is weird, which is super fucking weird.
Ew.
But also, like, if I'm if you're a full grown woman in your office minding your own business and you get a phone call, like that's pretty easy. No.
Or
And
it's also could be an easy fire.
yeah, I mean, it could be a lot of things,
Yeah.
but I just think Louis C.K. for like Harvey Weinstein was like locking women in hotel rooms, you know, and like forcing his 300 pounds on them
big,
and shit.
slobby, sweaty.
And like, you know, R. Kelly's
Busty
like
ass.
got people locked in like
Yeah,
houses.
it
like,
was
Yeah.
Louis C.K. who also said nigga, and Chris Rock ain't say nothing about him.
did he?
Yeah,
Oh no,
it
that was yeah, that shit was from
But
like
even with that, still that was another
that was on that
case-
Talking Funny thing.
That was another case of people taking something out of context. And
Well, that actually, no. The funny thing is, that program that was on was one of my like that talk they did. They did that in like 2004 or 5. Like it's pretty old. And I remember.
And then it was about a joke that was years before then,
yeah,
and you didn't
like,
have context
honestly,
of the
I
joke.
saw that when it came out first.
Yeah.
Like it was on HBO years and years ago. I remember seeing him say that, and I don't agree with what he said, but the way he was talking about. I mean, you ever run into Jim DeRogatis, the guy who broke all the R. Kelly stuff? He talks just like that too, and it's not because he's racist or he's biased or he's like these are the words that are being used in the things that I'm reporting on. And if I were to skid around the word, then it would just sound stupid, kind of.
Thanks.
So it's more like on a reporting thing. And I don't know. I mean,
So Louis C.K. is yours. Do you have someone that's supposed to be canceled, but you didn't cancel them?
Well, I think that there's like one side of the culture that canceled her, but it's kind of like
I think we're gonna have the same one.
Jordan
Woods. Oh no, we didn't have the same person.
Oh.
I never really thought Jordan Woods was canceled. I know, but I think
just didn't cared enough.
No, I didn't think. No, I know you didn't care enough, but that's like the one person because I feel like us, like black women, we didn't necessarily cancel her, but I feel like Kardashian, Kylie, suckers, like people who love her, canceled her, I feel like they definitely did. They definitely did, and I'm here for you, Jordan.
I got one of somebody who was in the wrong and was dead ass in the wrong that I didn't cancel, and I'm still not gonna cancel.
Who?
Sabrina Claudio.
What did she do?
Sabrina Claudio, they dug deep into her tweets from like maybe 5 years ago and saw where she had said something about like niggas this or something about black women or she said something and people were like,
it was pretty fucked up.
They were like, yo, how this white girl blah 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 say this, and I was like, well, first, she's not white, but that doesn't make it right that she said it. But then I was like, but beyond that, people grow. Like people have.
That's true, but then also there's like the whole like that immediately made me think of Yes Jules.
But she didn't grow. That's different. So look, what Sabrina Claudio said was isolated incident 5 years ago. She was like, I've grown as a person. I've had interactions with black women. I know better as a person. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I accept my faults. I apologize. I'm growing from it. And then at that point, I can only trust that you are trying to attempt to better yourself. And the best apology is change behavior. And that's what you're doing.
I got the news
here for with Yes Jules. She started disparaging black women in 2011, and she's still saying disparaging shit last week. That's different.
Like, and well, what do you all think of the one of the most current canceled hip hop artists, or he's been canceled by hip hop? Yachty.
Yachty got canceled?
Not Yachty. I'm sorry, no, not Yachty.
Oh, Kodak Black?
Kodak Black.
He's not canceled.
Kodak Black.
But they canceled him. I'm saying hip hop.
Who's
like, okay, so you had T.I.
Okay, let me
he was removed
from.
They took down his banner from the Trap Museum.
Okay, can I get on my soapbox real quick?
Wait, do you want to hear the Sabrina Claudio tweets?
Yeah, detail what Sabrina said.
I'm sorry, wait, really quick. Actually, shout out to Lil Yachty because I messed up his name right there. But he actually wrote the City Girls big song. So shout out to you, Yachty. But back to you guys.
So her derogatory comments include a frequent use of the N-word and remarks like, it must suck to be a black girl with no booty, and fuck it, I'll be a black girl for Halloween.
Yeah, I don't really know if I could like that.
I
don't even know who she is, but it's kind of like.
I get it, and I understand the gripe of it, but I understand.
She called an Instagram user a sweaty chonga.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm just saying, but to say you want to be a black girl for Halloween, okay, well, let me just break that down. That one thing can probably, like, you could probably forgive anything else she said, but that one thing, that's like blackface.
But the thing is, I didn't say I forgave what she said. I said I understand what people grow and they have different experiences and they learn more. Like you could take a 5-year-old who's now 27, and when he was 5, he could have been bred to say that he hates black people. Well, and then he grew up and had the experience with black people. That didn't make him hate black people.
But I think that
Justin Bieber got caught
saying nigga and shit when he was 12. We supposed to say fuck Justin Bieber now?
No, I'm saying he was 12, but I feel like if you're 18, I feel like how old was she when she tweeted these?
She was like 17. If that.
Now, how old is she now?
Sabrina Claudio's only like 21.
Okay, so so it depends on who
21, and these were from the last 7 years, so like 14 to 20.
14-year-old.
Okay.
You don't know what your white parents have taught you to say.
Okay, and
she's also Puerto Rican and Cuban.
Okay, okay, well then. I agree. If you're 14, 15 years old, then yes,
if you're
impressionable.
Saying this shit last week.
It's like you're impressionable. Even if you said it 2 years ago.
Hold on. To pivot off that, there's actually an interesting case in the NFL right now. Not that we have the draft on for some reason. But
if any of the viewers see me looking at the TV, I'm looking at the draft.
But the guy who went number 2, I believe, Nick Bosa.
Yeah, Nick Bosa.
He's
a wild boy.
Well, he just went to
that was recent.
He just went to that's what I'm saying. He just went to the 49ers.
And he went to my favorite team.
For those who don't know the story, Nick Bosa, Ohio State, right? He was like a defensive end from Ohio State. Country ass white guy, big, probably drives a Dodge Ram and shit. And he had these tweets that were like borderline racist as hell, but also like coming at Kaepernick and shit.
And Beyonce and I'm gonna tell you.
I'll look these up. But he let me set the story before we get into that.
Beyonce.
So basically what happened was he was getting drafted this week, right? So for the last couple months, everyone's been looking at pouring through all his shit, going through everything. He deleted all these tweets where he was, and now he has to go to San Francisco where Kaepernick played. And like he's got this shadow of like just being a fucking asshole to him. So it's like that's a better example.
If he deleted the tweets, how are you
people,
recovering them?
You know how people do that. There's always ways. You can't delete anything.
But how long ago were the tweets?
Like the last couple years.
Yeah, it was very recent because within the tweets he said that Kaepernick was a clown for kneeling. He said that Beyonce is overrated and her music is trash. Any way that he could take down a positive black person.
You even saying that just now, like saying that sentence about Beyonce, actually like felt weird. Like
like anything he could say. It was like anything he could say about a black movement, he was taking it down. And then as he got drafted, Trump tweeted about him, like congratulating him. Specifically, he said, as
he held up a jersey that was red and white.
Yeah, Trump said, "Congratulations to Nick Bosa being picked number 2 in the NFL draft. You'll be a great player for years to come. Maybe one of the best. Big talent. San Francisco will embrace you. Most importantly, make you stay true to yourself. Make America great again."
Such a douche.
But beyond that, back to our point of cancellation with Kodak Black. I have a couple of points. My first point with Kodak Black.
Wow, boy.
Is for the general public. Number one is Kodak Black. What the fuck did you expect? Literally. Yeah. It's Kodak Black. This is the same man who, when he first was introduced to us, he was coming out of jail and going back in jail. It's the same man who had sexual assault and rape charges. This is the same man whose house was raided because he had guns.
Can we just stop? Can we just stop dealing like with Florida rappers with tattoos on their face? Like they're all.
I'm not even done there. Yeah, it's like, who was raided his house because on Instagram Live, police, while he was on probation, police saw him with guns and drugs around a baby. This is the same Kodak Black who didn't refer to any women, black, white, Hispanic, whatever, is nothing but bitches and hoes and inferior since he first came out. So then my thought is, why the fuck are y'all expecting so much out of Kodak Black? Like, he showed y'all who he was. Y'all accepted him for who he was, and y'all expect him to change now? Like, and especially in regards to Lauren London. He doesn't care that Nipsey's dead. And it's like, you're just being Kodak at this point. Not saying that is right or wrong. Now, here goes my issue. When it comes specifically to T.I., because I've had this gripe with T.I. for a long time. So, T.I., if you thought this was so wrong, why not specifically reach out to him individually? You did this video to where you're saying, yo, you're wrong. Like, Nipsey's one of our people. You out of pocket. If you got a problem with it, you got my phone number, bruh. Well, if he got your phone number, I'm sure you got his too. So why didn't you just reach out to him like the OG you say you are and say, yo, Kodak, you are wrong. Like, correct that.
Okay, well, not to critique anybody critiquing him, but I'll say my issue with hip-hop's response to Kodak's comments on Nipsey and Lauren London is that having an issue with him saying that, like if that's such a huge issue, which it is, Kodak, you're kind of crazy, why wasn't it the same response to all of the other shit that he's done?
Exactly. On top of that, and I hate this fucking word, but people use this attack on Kodak as a clout chase. And this isn't fucking T.I.'s first time of doing this. T.I. would do this for anything. Like, if we want to go back to the Floyd Mayweather and Gucci shit, let's boycott Gucci for 2 months. What the fuck is boycotting Gucci for 2 months going to do? What is it doing? T.I. uses... What is 2 months?
Right, but that's the microwave culture that we live in.
Okay, but my thing is he's flagrant about it more than anybody. So my thing is, so you're going to boycott him for 2 months. So for March and April, and then in May, when the new spring collection come, your ass going to be out here in it? Like, what difference does that make? T.I. is so wrong about this. And then another thing that I'm upset, and I'm going to call a spade. Jay-Z my favorite rapper, but I hate that he ever rapped that y'all kill X, but let Zimmerman die. The streets is dead. Because now every time T.I. look up, and somebody else is dead or another rapper is dead or something, he want to go say, we still ain't got Zimmerman. Motherfucker, you the nigga that went to jail for gun charges and shit. You go get the motherfucker. Why you telling us general ass, ordinary, everyday people who working jobs or the niggas that's on the block to go kill Zimmerman? Nigga, you the nigga who's a multimillionaire who's been rapping about how much you gonna kill niggas.
He did just put together like a multi-million-dollar documentary that like focuses on that whole case.
Okay, but I'm saying you could put it, so you want to put together a documentary. Oh, you talking about Jay or T.I.? Yeah. No, I'm talking about T.I.
Oh, my bad.
Because every time you look up now, this nigga talking about we still got Zimmerman out here. Well, nigga, do something about it. Why you telling my ass is 27 living in Chicago trying to get some money together to go all the way to fucking Florida to kill George Zimmerman?
Okay. Here's my response.
And I got one more piece to this.
Go ahead.
The fucking game. You next. Because this nigga hopped all on fucking Instagram. Kodak is wrong. He doing this. How you gonna speak on a nigga who dead wife? Fuck you, nigga. How you speak on a Joe Budden wife? You the one come out talking about you fuck Kim Kardashian. Nigga, these niggas still living. Like, I don't care if a nigga is dead or a nigga is living. A wife is a wife, nigga. Shut the fuck up. He ain't shit either. Now I'm done. It's all yours. That's my rant for today.
All right, so I found this Beyonce tweet, and it was a response to somebody saying that something about Lemonade, and he said it's the worst song I've ever heard, I think.
That was an album.
Yeah, so that's like, that's how there's levels to that.
Okay,
kind of disrespect.
him. But what I'll say is, like, kind of like tying it into what we started the show off on was, like, moments versus movements. So one thing that I would say irritates and really irks the most out of, like, me for modern day Black society is that we get caught up in so many movements more than any other culture. Like, it's like every single time something good happens or something, not good. Every time something bad happens, we care about it for a second, march the streets for a minute, and then get CNN to do a blurb on it or whatever, and then it dies down. Nothing is, it just seems like as though with our generation, nothing is ever seen, no moment is ever seen until fruition of becoming a movement.
Well, I think that's also a problem you're going to see with like this next generation coming up as well. Like they're very activist focused. They're very like, out making moves. They're trying to push the voting age to 16 in California and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like a generation that has grown up with severe ADD in these kinds in their actions. You know what I mean? Like if you think about it, like if what you're saying is true, if you're growing up with that, you can't focus on any one thing. Like when we were 16, like there wasn't Twitter, there wasn't social media. So like if you were really passionate about something, like you could kind of just focus on that every day. Like there was an issue in your neighborhood, right? Like if your neighborhood had something going on, or your town or your city. But now it's like being able to see everything at once is like people are trying to like put like a penny in each jar rather than like a dollar. And I think
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting because it's like I wonder what it's going to look like in 10, 12 years when these people are in their 20s. Is it just going to be a bunch of like thoughts and prayers,
Yeah, it's just like that just reminds me of how like so Notre Dame burned down, right?
Yeah.
Overnight they had like what was it, like $1 billion? I
think it was like over that.
Over $1 billion donated
like
to
four different companies donated at least $600 million, I think. Yeah.
Right to that. Yeah. And somebody made a great point. Yo, Flint still don't got clean pipes.
I got another.
The week before that, the son of a sheriff in the South burned 4 historically Black churches to the ground.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just
the son of the sheriff. Nobody has made that.
The sheriff.
The son of the sheriff.
Where'd he get that? Where'd he find that?
Nobody made that point in those stories.
It's just mind-boggling how much society puts into certain things while omitting and just plain up ignoring certain issues that affect people.
We live in a facade-driven environment now. You know what I mean? It's a facade-driven world, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, real life, or anything in between. Like,
right. I'm just saying, like, to brief. Okay, yes, Notre Dame was a prominent historical. Sorry, I was wiping off my phone. A prominent historical structure in, like, known to one of the most highly noted ones to mankind.
Can I get another rant off real quick?
Okay, go ahead.
And it happened with Notre Dame, and it also reminded me of Nipsey Hussle. People are fucking disgusting. Because when Notre Dame was burning, the amount of people who decided to flex that they've been to Paris by showing a picture was trash. In the same sense of Nipsey. A lot of people who made Nipsey's death about, I met Nipsey, or
well, that's different.
No,
that's
it's not.
Different.
No.
Well, it depends on the context.
No, it's a difference. There's a. I met Nipsey. Here's my picture. You meant a lot to me as a fan.
Yeah.
I've seen someone, and I can name them and show y'all the post right now, that when Nipsey died, this person formulated a whole rollout to something that they were doing by showcasing something that they have met Nipsey before, and it was a ton of that associated.
We're going to have to break that down. Maybe off the air.
Essentially, they got a company coming, and they use the sole experience that they had with Nipsey to correlate it with their eventual brand rollout. That's fucking trash. That's trash. I don't care that like you met Nipsey and he inspires you. There's a difference in I met Nipsey and he inspired me to be better. Here's our picture together.
I want to remember him. That's fine.
There's a difference in that. And I met Nipsey. He inspired me to do that. Here's our picture together. Now follow my company as I do this and do that. Or we did this together. Or
there's a difference there.
Huh?
There's a difference there.
That's what I'm saying. It's a difference. So the people who just say, yo, this is when I met Nipsey. He meant something to me. Here's a picture. Cool. For people to say, here's Nipsey. And I took this with him as we worked on this project. And since then, I've gone on to do this and do that and do this. That's fucking trash.
Yeah.
That's trash. And then let's go back to the same space of when the building is burning, they say, oh shit, well, here's pictures of Notre Dame when I went back in this day and I was kicking it. Here go a picture. Like, it's a difference in saying, I remember this place and let me flex off my vacation photos.
Right, yeah. So for me, yes, the burning of Notre Dame was detrimental. It's a historical structure, right? But I don't necessarily sympathize as much as I don't sympathize with the event of it burning down as much, because it's kind of like, okay, yeah, you all got $1 billion overnight, y'all gonna be good. It's so much other stuff
when you are already $1 billion base,
right? Already. So it's like they're gonna be good.
But
so I don't sympathize with it as much.
The government of France is behind them, you know?
Right?
But you know why I'm not mad about that? Because that money didn't come from America. That money came from French holdings and people of the Catholicism religion. And maybe if it did come from America, it's people who correlate.
But also France is going through, like, as this is happening, they're having the yellow vest protests, which are like, you know, they've been going on for about 2 months now. And they pretty much shut the government down over low wages, not getting like health care, shit like that.
But even beyond that.
No, but I'm saying, so for these French companies, take like nationality out of it. Like the fact that this church burned down and they immediately had $1 billion ready to go, but there's been people dying, like people fighting and dying in the streets in Paris.
But the thing, even with that,
to get $1 more raise.
But what people don't even recognize is that a majority of that money came from one individual.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did. $1 billionaire donated.
A $1 billionaire went ham and
the L'Oreal, the guy who owns L'Oreal, donated $600 million, and then it got matched by 2 other companies.
Okay,
companies.
I get that, but I'm saying,
and that's probably for recognition, because when they rebuild it, they're gonna want their logo right there in the entrance.
Also, like L'Oreal Paris, like they're Paris-based companies.
But coming back to Portia's like original thing, I agree that the people in France, the companies and everything, like you saying, Jake, can do a better thing for supporting their people as they're supporting this church. Mm-hmm. When it comes back to America things, I'm not going to look at what France is doing and French companies are doing and saying, so why y'all ain't helping Flint? I want Flint to be helped as much as everybody actually in Flint. Actually, no, I don't, because Flint, they feel it more. So I'm not on that same level of it burdening them as it's burdening me. Like Flint doesn't affect directly me. Like, so they have a greater impact on their life and how they feel about it. But I want Flint to get some resolution, to get help. But I can't look at what's going on in Paris for people in their city based in their religion to be like, why are y'all not giving this money to Flint?
Okay, wait. So here's the reason I brought that up.
That's our home issue.
But I don't think that. I think you're taking that out of context.
Well, yeah, no. So here's the reason I brought it up.
You're like that. Literally just the fact that.
Can I frame it?
Yeah.
Can I frame it?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
So my bad.
The reason I brought that up is because, like, if we're speaking on an international level, I feel as though when there are detrimental issues that come up within other countries, they handle and address it immediately. Look at New Zealand. When that mass shooting happened, what happened within the week?
I mean, but yeah, Portia, but that's true. But
I'm saying they banned.
But I'm saying at the same time that all these companies and all these people have been coming out and giving this money, there's literally like the equivalent, like the government has been shut down in Paris. Like they haven't been able to do anything in Paris because there's been such widespread riots and protests. Like they had protests yesterday. Like they've been having protests every single day. There's people whose job right now is to just put on a yellow vest and go scream at people because they're not getting like any of the benefits or any of like, it's what's happening here too. It's the disintegration of the middle class. So like same shit that happens here every day, where on the south side of Chicago, you have people that have little to nothing in terms of resources or different kinds of things, right? There's neighborhoods down there that like are completely like devoid of resources. Whereas we just built $200 million or $300 million blue line station at what was it, Irving Park or something like that. Like, come on, you know what I mean? It's happening everywhere. So it's like I think it's interesting to see it, but it's like, yes, that billions of dollars came out and France took care of that, the church burning down, but they're not taking care of their people. And their people are starving and are pissed off and are not having it anymore. And that's what's happening around the world, I think, is like, yes, you're right on one side, but on the other, there's always another side as well.
So that's where I say we're looking at 3 different points here. We got the side of Portia.
Yeah, I do think we are. You're right.
And your side, you're at like why you can help this edifices, but you can't help your people.
Right.
And then on my side, I'm looking at people that are here that are like, why are you expecting funds from France?
You're right. We're all
from France to come to fucking Michigan.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I think
I'm saying any American who's donated to that cause and not donated to, because like Flint is just like one issue. It's a micro issue to so many larger issues.
Put one of those pictures up of her being there, and then she sent like $15.
But you know what's even weird about that? But like even
she could have sent that.
If you don't have no connection to that, but even on like a religious level, if you are American and Notre Dame was like a very important aspect of your Catholicism, and you live in Texas, and you're fucking Republican, I don't see you giving that money to.
Can I ask a question actually?
Like physically?
No, like.
Shit! I'm gonna say, where this video at?
No, he got beat up like on Twitter and the internet and stuff. I can't say what it was verbatim because I can't remember. But basically what he said was. Basically what he said was they were talking about R. Kelly, buying R. Kelly.
It depends on the church because I mean. Preachers, I just feel like a lot of things are corrupt, and I don't feel like he should be.
I was just more so wondering if you guys.
I don't think he should. I don't think he should be bashed because his experience might have been that he might have went to a church.
Music because he touches little girls. You give him your money. Well, you've been giving the church your money while they pay all these lawsuits and pay off all these kids for millions of dollars. That's really where all the money goes.
There's a lifetime.
My bad. This is a very.
Can I state that be speaking for a lot of people who I have not actually like talked to or polled. I hate how there is a belief. There was one where a pastor had on like some Jordans or something, right? And it was like, these Jordans cost $200 when they first came out, but now they're worth $1,000 or whatever, right? Who says that this pastor didn't get the shits when they first came out?
Shawn, I feel you, but like...
No, but wait. Let me finish
I've seen all this shit. These guys are definitely...
No, but let me finish the statement of it, though. But people are trying to attribute that to your everyday, like, Chicago pastor. Like, he can't walk in the Foot Locker.
But those guys you're talking about on that Instagram are not that guy. Those guys are super people.
But you're changing my statement, though.
No, I'm not.
No, yes, you are.
You're saying that press is...
Wait. I think what he's saying that he feels as though he doesn't think that people judge certain pastors for not having nice things. But here's the thing.
You're saying that you could buy a pair of shoes from Foot Locker and they could look expensive.
Can I just try to draw a parallel here? So are you
saying I don't know if you know my point either.
Well, let him go. Let him go. Before you get to it.
Wait, Portia, let him go. Let him finish. That's my bad.
Thing is, if there's a pastor that has a church on the South Side and got 300 people, and he works every day, and he goes to work, and then he goes to pastor his church, he gets a check outside of the church.
Yeah.
And he goes in the Foot Locker and buys the Jordans to come out today.
Okay.
Why should he be crucified for doing that?
I don't think, Shawn, that I get your point. I don't think that's the guy getting crucified for that. But crucified for that and getting put on Instagram is the guy who's flying a private jet across the country.
I get that.
And rocking like a $500 T-shirt and like $600 Nikes.
But here's the thing. But I think it comes down to percentage.
But no. I still haven't finished the point yet, though.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
My thing is that they're doing to every pastor. So like if you have I've seen it happen all the time where it's like you're just like these mega church pastors that don't care about their congregation but will go buy $200. Why can't he have nothing he works for?
No, I think
it's just the perception of the fact that there's people who do that. Like, there's a lot of priests who don't touch little boys. But the thing is, a lot of priests have. And now my perception of priests is kind of based in that.
And so, I think that's fucked up too. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But I don't know. Maybe just do something.
Maybe just be a community leader and don't be a priest. You don't need religion. You can just do nice things.
But that's wrong. And then you're marginalizing somebody to not even believe in something. So then they're supposed to be bummy just because they want to help people get religion. Like that's fucked
well, here's
up.
the thing. I think that, but say if you're dealing with like a full-time pastor, full-time, and say their salary or commission is equivalent to like the executive VP of a Fortune 500 company.
Right, yeah.
So it's like, okay, you can both afford nice things. So I don't think that pastor should be criticized for buying the same things that he can afford.
I agree.
Based on this. But here's the issue. Of the economic structure of churches. I don't know. But what's the
baked into that
like that's that priest though. I'm saying like a Baptist preacher who like just likes to look nice.
No, that's fine.
But
I'm just saying, I think that's where the shit starts. At the end of the day, man, church is just like this, right?
If you are paid a certain amount, whether it be as your job as a pastor or whatever you do outside of church, how you spend your money is on you as long as you're not abusing the funds that go toward the religion.
So I think that's the crux, experience. Right? That's like the crossroad for you.
Exactly. Yeah. That's my thing. Like,
so I think the reason that people do look, like, to go back to your point, I think the reason people do look at those priests with the expensive shoes that way is because the perception has become this because of these people. You know, there's been so many people that have done it wrong that now it's kind of like politicians, right? Like, we don't trust politicians because we've seen them like do fucky shit too.
Exactly. Yeah. It's to where it's damn near like you want their tax returns. Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. We're getting into some murky territory.
And I just think that's unfair. Like, and I'm not trying to say any of that to say that preachers should abuse funds and whatnot, but I feel like they should live their life like they want to. If they get paid, if you work $100,000 job outside of the church and you want to go buy a Benz and drive in your Benz and that money ain't coming from crippling the church or robbing the church, go buy your fucking Benz.
Yeah, don't judge. But I think that the flaw comes from the people who do actually do that.
And I think that's but I think that's just overall a flaw in the community and groupthink and not actually understanding how someone lives.
I mean, yeah, but also that's never been part of like being a priest or a pastor or anything, because like at the end of the day, not every denomination, but most denominations require them to be celibate and like not have a wife. And like when your biggest issue, again, sorry to keep
that's Catholicism. I'm just not on that
side. No, but I said like it's not just Catholicism. I think like there's a few others that have that same kind of thing. But it's like when the biggest issue you have is like priests touching little boys, and you tell them that they can't be with women and they can't get married. That seems like a very contradictory statement. You know what I mean? Like
it was like, so you don't want to do this, you want to.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to make it funny, but it's like that's the kind of hypocrisy. That's play with these types.
Yeah, that's just my thing. That was just like it just sprouted off of when Portia said. So I don't even remember what she said anymore. But like, it made me think about that, and that just kind of like sat on my mind for a minute. And I'm like, yo, they're humans too. Like they like to live. Things. They like to be in a nice home.
If this person makes the same amount, they work in the church, but they make the same amount as an executive VP of some Fortune 500 company.
Like
why not live the same?
And then they'll be like, and I seen another argument, and to like just lock it all down. I seen another argument to say, well, if they make that much, they should look toward helping people in the church. I'm like, can't they do both?
Yeah.
Like I just don't understand what's wrong with people.
They can, but maybe they're not. And maybe that's why they're getting called.
Then they got to answer with that shit when they get up and see St. Peter at the door. And St. Peter say, my nigga, you a filthy nigga.
Oh, well, okay,
nice shoes, though.
On that note, shout out to my church who is not corrupt. And I love you guys so much.
And
Christ Universal Temple, CUT, holding it down. I'm a Johnny Coleman baby. And yeah, man, any other notes out?
Nah, I'm going to get drunk.
All right. Well.
Right after shout out the church. Right. I'm going to get drunk.
Hey, communion was based for a reason.
Okay, well, I just want to chime in to sponsor for a high school senior. I have her selected.
Ooh,
she is the #1 student in her class, valedictorian.
We should bring her on the show.
I could. That would be so dope. We're actually going to pick up her prom dress.
Is she a King student?
No, she goes to Harper High School, Inglewood. She goes to Harper High School, Inglewood.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, she's amazing. So if you would like to sponsor, please visit my Instagram page.
Like, let people know what we need. Like,
okay,
yeah,
so
cut off her Instagram page where she's getting the donations.
All right.
Well, yeah, go to my Instagram.
To come in my DM link.
No, let's not.
Hey, I actually said glide in a meeting the other day, and I was the only person cracking up.
Why would you even bring that into a corporate setting?
You can slide into Portia's DM.
No, you can click on the link.
You can slide in the link in her bio.
You can click the link in my bio at Portia King Media and just donate. So right now, the goal right now is to raise $1,000, which will cover her dress. It will cover the photo package at prom, her hair. I have someone who's sponsoring her makeup, but we're going to get her nails done, feet done, accessories for the dress, so shoes, bag, jewelry, for her transportation to and from prom with her date. And also sponsor the send-off because I love prom send-offs.
And how much are you at currently?
Right now, we are at about $500, so we're halfway there.
All right, cool. Just let me know what you need help, and I'll help push that as well. Something else I want to talk to you about is helping out 2 different agencies. I guess you could say agencies.
Okay.
Nonprofits agencies about supporting back-to-school efforts. I know you're good within that.
Yeah, I do a back-to-school supply drive.
And where do you take it to the Inglewood spot, right?
Yeah, Peace House in Inglewood.
Okay, so I want to also, I don't know if it's going to be too much of a tax for both of us to do, but I also want to assist our friend Hassani and the I know they do sponsorship. About the sponsorship package, I think they start like $200.
He actually sponsored. He donated a ton of school supplies to the school supply drive I did last year.
Definitely, and I want to help him and sponsor within the Take Back. I don't know if that's a sponsorship that we can like maybe put together as in you and I, and we recruit some friends to help us out.
And the 3-piece could probably go live at the Take Back. It's really fun in the park.
So Shawn also,
I'm not going to be here though.
When is it?
It's normally the first weekend of August, and I got a
previous commitment.
Bachelor party, strippers. Yeah. And then aside from that, also Association House, I'm hosting a back to school thing as well.
Okay.
For about 500 kids in the Humble Park and West Side area.
Hey.
I've adopted the West Side as home, except I won't live over there because they ain't got grass. But yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Well,
we've gone really long today.
We did.
On that note,
Wait.
please visit Portia King Media. Click on the link.
Instagram, Portia King Media.
To contribute.
Got it.
Wait, we don't care. Just say one thing. Just really one thing. So like, so in addition to this girl's mom, or in addition to the girl I've selected, she's number one in her class, right? But her mom really enjoyed, wow. But her mom
Shawn's
really
pouring
deserves
champagne into his whiskey glass.
Well, don't get this. She has a brother who's her Irish twin. They're both graduating this year. So she has 2 children graduating the same year. One is number 1, and her brother is number 3 in the class.
That's amazing.
With 4.0 plus
Pick
GPAs.
it up and get to number 2, or else it's not going to make
Okay,
sense.
all right. Thank you,
So
Jay.
I just want to point out that
no, we're not pointing anything else.
We're
leaving.
Me on Shawn X Grant, and our homie Steve is sitting over here like, anytime you fuckers want to wrap up your show. All right. And with that, we're out.
Oh, hey, this is our last show.
From the
studio.
studio. A new studio that has stripper poles and
no, we won't. Or we might be at a brunch spot somewhere in Chicago.
Or more stripper poles.
You'll be seeing us around town doing some new things. So thank you guys for tuning in to the second studio.